Yeah. Hey.
Hi.
Hey.
Hello.
How we doing out there, everyone? Welcome back. Baseball Central podcast here.
Indeed.
Coming up on our 7th episode here. TJ and I'm Ryan. TJ, want to say thanks for tuning in, guys, and checking us out. We have some great stuff we're going to be talking about tonight. A lot to get to. We're going to jump right into it. So, getting started off tonight, we're going to talk about divisional wrap up, kind of what teams are leading and who's right on their heels. So, why don't you name this column and I'll name the other one.
The AL column. So in the East, which is the strong division, well, it's a stronger division.
It was the strongest division in baseball until NL West came to life.
Well,
and then,
sure.
And then the Royals in the Central for a while.
So,
now White Sox.
of course, there are the Tampa Bay Rays, okay? And they are hot. They're playing well. They're strong. Also, shout out to Mr. Sheriff, right?
Yeah, Ryan Sheriff.
Ryan
Thank you
Sheriff,
for coming in and
congrats.
hanging out with us.
So they're in the lead by I want to say a handful of games.
Oh no, they're up big. They're up big. They're like 9
is
games.
it 9 games? Okay, so they're up 9 games from Boston. In the Central Division, it's Chicago White Sox. No one's even close. The next team is.
We kind of predicted that earlier in the year that the White Sox were going to run away.
You did that. You called it early.
And you had the Mets in there.
You called it early, though.
But you had the Mets in there, and for a while it was looking like maybe Mets and White Sox would be.
The Mets have melted down.
Remember when they melted 17 games with Rudolph as their manager? I couldn't believe it. That was like when I was a kid in 2000-something, like 3. I've never seen 17-game meltdown like that. Yeah. But this is close to it. I feel bad for them.
In the AL West, it's Houston, of course. I mean, they're good. Look, they're good. As much as we all want to hate.
Pluck Altuve. I'm just kidding.
Well.
That's just what the kids say at all the tournaments.
But they're in the lead. Oakland's, they're behind, but it's a decent margin. So that's what we got in the AL. What do you got in the NL?
Right now, National League, obviously San Fran's keeping a tight lead over the Dodgers with 2. Dodgers got that big lead in the wild card. Looks like the Reds maybe and the Padres are kind of scrapping it out for the other wild card position, but wild card trying to get there against the Dodgers.
Exactly.
We're just talking as Dodger fans who they might be participating against in the playoffs here to start off. Atlanta in the East holding it down. Philly is right on their heels, doing well as well. They've had a nice little run. Philly. Milwaukee's held down their central position and in their central division. Who's a team out of these? Oh, let's say just these 6 right here.
Prediction-wise?
Yeah, maybe Boston.
I mean, Tampa Bay is going to put up a good fight.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be. Yep. But then, I mean, Chicago. I don't know. Honestly, it's a tough matchup between those 3. But as far as like, who do you think's going to make the wild card for AL?
I think it's going to be Oakland and Boston again. Yeah. That's like typically a huge wild card game.
Who would you like to see?
I'd like to see the White Sox play the Dodgers. That would be like my dream World Series. Yeah. Okay. Rays, I would love to see the Rays get back in there just because they're a team that makes it work with what they have.
Yeah.
Rays San Fran or Rays like Atlanta would be a good matchup.
Do you think it would be good for baseball? Like, I mean, they always want like big market teams and like these. But
I think we need to see the best baseball.
Yeah.
So I don't care what market or what team you're in. You could be.
What about the NL? Who do you got out of the NL? Like, I mean,
favorites right now.
Favorites.
Atlanta has looked good. San Francisco looks good. I think I'd give San Francisco the nod over everyone else right now.
Do you think that's
creeping up there?
Do you think that's a managerial thing, like with Gabe Kapler? Like, do you think he's making them that much better?
Here's my feelings on Gabe Kapler and the managerial and the wearing the glasses like Joe Madden, and kind of using a little bit of like this laid back philosophy that Joe has to really get the most out of his players. I'm just gonna be straight up with you guys. I think the Giants players are overachieving this year. They're playing better. Individually and as a unit than what they were expected to. Not saying that they're not a good team, just saying that they're playing above what they're supposed to be doing this year by a large margin. Yeah. So any manager could step in there and take on that team and say, hey, I tweaked just a little bit and look what it did for us. So it could be.
Gabe was with Philly last year or 2 years ago?
Yeah, he was in Philadelphia.
Didn't do great, but.
Well,
I don't think
it's his first experience.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Not everybody knows how to massage egos in the locker room until you've done it for a year or 2.
Fair enough.
True. And now he might actually have the general manager that was formerly with the Dodgers underneath him, so they might have like a nice collaboration going, bringing in players, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
We really want
Right.
to talk. You say it again.
No, that's a good point.
Yeah, it's interesting to say the least. He's got a really calm, quiet demeanor like Joe Madden now all of a sudden, and he was always a quiet dude, walking around the locker room with like 45-pound dumbbells like this.
Did we talk about it? Like I played when I was with the Tigers. He was with the Tigers, and he was a specimen. He was huge.
Yeah.
We just watched him work out. His work ethic. He was very disciplined.
He would eat Snickers bars in the dugout and then spit them out because he didn't want the calories. I couldn't believe that. He wanted the taste, but he didn't want the calories. So
that's crazy.
It's impressive. Real important this year, 2021. Two of the greater players.
Finally.
Yeah,
there was 4 that went in.
4 total players that made it.
But we're going to highlight the 2.
The 2 that we all love and know.
Right.
I'm going to let TJ tell a great story about Larry Walker because...
Well, I'll go first about Larry. I mean, Derek Jeter, everyone knows about Derek Jeter, and he's a stud, and his whole legacy is pretty much speaks for itself. But Larry, a couple things first is that Larry didn't start playing baseball until he was a senior in high school.
Whoa.
And so he was a hockey player. He's from Canada.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow.
Really?
I didn't know he was a hockey guy.
The
mullet makes sense now.
Right?
Yeah, the hockey mullet.
No, so he was a hockey guy, and so he didn't start playing baseball until, I believe, if I'm incorrect, I apologize, but I believe he didn't start playing until he was a senior in high school. But, so I was fortunate to come across his path because my father retired in '87 and then started managing, but he was with the Expos in 88, 89. 89, he was with the Indianapolis Indians, and that was the Expos farm team. And I think he had...
Was Larry a rookie that year?
I believe...
88 or 9,
yeah.
maybe rookie?
Yes, and then like...
He was rookie of the year, wasn't he?
I don't know if he was rookie of the year.
I thought he had a pretty hot start in the big leagues.
I don't know if he did, but...
I think I saw
So I got to experience Larry in the minor league level and then also the major league level. But the funny thing, the stories that I have about Larry was just super down to earth, like real, like such a locker room, just just a dude.
Yeah.
And so we used to play, like he'd be like, let's go play some pepper. Like he was cool with me. I'm like 11 years old, and he'd be like, let's go play pepper. And I'm like, yeah, cool. And he, dude, I would throw him, and he would hit absolute seeds at my shins, and it was unreal. Like, and I would like it'd skip off my shin, and I'd like look at him like.
He'd look back at him and go, Leonard Chandler.
No, I'd like, he'd be like, what? Like,
step up.
We're playing pepper. That's you don't. It's not pepper. It's pepper.
Yeah.
Right.
Spicy.
So I'm like, okay, cool. And so I figured it out. I got good at pepper. That's for sure. And then another story about Larry was in the locker room. He used to come up to me and just walk past. It did like just like with sliding shorts on, flip flops,
Girdle.
and just and no, like to like Nuke Lelouch from Boulder. He used to come up to me like and blow a burp in my face and just keep going, just keep passing. I'm like 11, 10 years old. And or whatever. And I was
brutal.
Like, it was brutal, but I loved every minute of it.
Oh,
I'm like, oh, that's so gross. And I was like, yeah, that's so cool at the same time.
The attention was worth it though.
But he was a stud. I mean, and there's a lot of things that you look at with him and his career. And the thing that I think that sticks out the most to me, that I teach a lot of the younger kids, and I think we talked about, is his base running and like how he was as far as, when he got on base, because he wasn't fast, but he had such good instincts and like
tangibles.
Good reads, and so he had good jumps, and so he made him a really good base runner. And that's the thing about base running. You mess it up at every level. Like everyone talks about, like, oh, we did base running today for like 2 hours. Like major leaguers mess it up. It's not as easy as it seems.
In the playoffs, it's one of the two most prolific things that cost teams.
Right.
Is pitchers fielding practice and base running.
Right.
Remember the Giants around second base where he didn't touch second?
Exactly. I think he talked about something in his Hall of Fame speech where he was like,
yes.
Right? Did you see that? He's like, he took off on a hit and run. They caught it in the air. He ran back, but he totally skipped second base. He said he didn't realize he had to touch second base again going back to first.
Yep.
So, he learned early, but that's a cool story about Larry.
I think I just read his Hall of Fame inducting that he had 3 MVPs? 3-time MVP? Well, I know he had 2001, 2... 97, 1, and 2. He went back-to-back years with the Rockies. I think I could have swore 2001.
He might be
2,
right.
I saw
He might be right. He was a doubles machine. He was on fire, but
and a great locker room guy.
Just down to earth. Just
Funny dude. Huh?
Funny dude. But But that era reminds me of a lot of like just that culture, like that early or late 80s to like early 90s, that culture of, I remember the first high tops that were worn, like Eric Davis was wearing them, Delino DeShields was wearing these high tops, just everything that, the whole swag, like the drip, like some chains, but then I remember these wristbands, Mims Bands, that these guys were wearing, and they're like pictures of themselves, you know, and they're like, I'm like, what?
Who's on this one?
This is Josh Gibson.
Oh my goodness, this is the Babe Ruth of
there's only like so many.
huh?
Wow. There's only so many of these made. I got these. I was fortunate to grab a pair real quick. But so these Mims Bands, I'll show them close to you guys. I was like a little up close and personal. James Mims, just a pioneer of drip, for that matter, as far as like accessories. Because, you know, you get to the big leagues, you get special things. Oh, special things.
Custom.
Well, and you get a leather belt.
Yeah.
In the minor leagues, you don't get a leather belt.
Yeah, you got to use that stretchy band that you go ahead.
It's like this.
Straighten up your underwear after the game, let them dry out with it.
It's a big 5. It's just that it's got leather on both ends, but it's the pleather.
And when you go to slide, it just gets like full of shit the whole way.
But you can go do 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 do. Like big league belts, you have to like unbuckle it and like.
Yeah.
You have to do it. You can't just boop, boop, boop.
Can't talk
So the Mims Bands was something that James did early on, and
this would be like your long arm sleeve band that's neon now. That's what these were back then.
And he got so much grief because MLB was giving him, I guess, shit about the likeness, and you can't do that. They can't be
image likeness, copyright infringement.
So he was like, what? And so it was a big deal, but
devastating.
He's got so many amazing players that wear this stuff. And
the first player I saw wearing them was Brandon Phillips.
Yeah.
He was like big on them, and then some of the other players.
So many players.
Harrison, you know,
Tulo, Eric Davis actually wore his, and Darryl Strawberry. They were so sick. Darryl Strawberry's had a strawberry on it.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was so sick, and some of them have like, now they have sayings like, don't do drugs or something very like
a message,
a message. So
or cause.
James Mims and Mims Bands, amazing. He just got a Project 70 through Topps, and I just ordered the Eric Davis baseball card that looks.
Let me ask you this: can kids go on there and take their photo and put it on Mims?
I don't know if they do that yet. I don't know if he does it yet, but it's something special, and that's the cool thing about getting to the big leagues, to get stuff like this, custom stuff, or wearing your own wristband on your
with your face
on your arm. But Eric Davis was my favorite. I wanted to get the E. Davis, and so he was a cool cat too, though.
Some of you guys that don't know who this Gibson guy is really need to look into baseball history, because this guy is one of the greatest players that not many people know about. This man right here, Willie Mays, got an opportunity to play in the big leagues, but this gentleman didn't, and the numbers that he put up were special.
Yeah.
I would have really liked to have seen him hit off of Major League pitching and see how much farther the ball went than just, facing minor leaguers. And his whole thing, his career was just immense, his numbers. Josh Gibson, go look him up, man.
Eric Davis, dude,
He wear him on low.
Well, he wear him low, but and he'd hit like down like this, and
yep.
He'd fire from here. That's how strong Eric Davis was. I used to love watching him. He was so cool too. Another story about, I got another locker room story.
Okay, let's see.
Eric Davis, E-Baba. E-Baba was his nickname. He used to come up to me and go, "Hey, little T." He'd go, "TJ, please, pick up the phone. You're on the request line." And this is when my dad played with Eric in like 84, 85 in Denver for the Zephyrs, AAA for the Reds.
Yeah.
And he was like coming up as a superstar. He helped my dad so much because he'd get on base, still second, and my dad would, move him over or whatever.
Do his team at bat.
Yeah, exactly. And
Helps him
so
out.
E. Davis, dude, what a stud. But speaking of my dad,
yes, we're gonna have TR
of
on
my
tonight.
pops, TR, in the game, professional scene for 41 years.
Impressive.
Everyone knows who he is. If they're a part of professional baseball, they know who TR is.
Yep.
TR, my father, now retired. Such an amazing career. or I was born like when he was playing pro ball. But the things that he was a part of through his career were pretty magnificent as far as played with Pete Rose in 85-86 when Pete Rose broke the record, Ty Cobb's record. He had he managed Dennis Martinez in his perfect game out here against LA. Mm-hmm. He then went to first no-hitter for the Rockies, Ubaldo Jimenez.
I watched his.
Then he was there also for Jamie Moyer's oldest win.
Mm-hmm. Maybe playoff.
Maybe. And then he was also a part of the Rockies when Ichiro has 3,000 hit. So, but anyways,
that's pretty dope.
The artist that we want to feature today is my father, my pops, Tom Runnels. This is kind of an arts and crafts kind of hobby that he's taken a liking to, which he does. So he basically takes old baseballs, cuts them up, and makes them into numbers, and then also does these frames. He does all of this matting, all this stuff. This is an Enots sketch down low.
You might remember him from an earlier episode that we had on where he highlighted his work, that TJ and him collaborate on a lot of stuff for
Mr.
Baseball
Jeff
Central.
Stone, absolutely.
Yeah.
So my dad took up some arts and crafts in his retirement, doing some fun stuff, but he has a lot of cool stuff. This is a Willie Mays edition here. The Jackie Robinson that you see in the background has been in our show plenty of time.
When I first saw these, I thought they were such a great idea. What a good way to use old Major League Baseballs. Create art.
Super cool. So, and
Recycling.
he signs them. Some of his stuff he's got autographed, like just whatever little pieces of paper, and it's got their number, or a sketch by Enoch. So
the matted thing that it's in, the frame with the mat, it's super cool.
He's always taking like.
Please inquire to TJ if you're interested in any of these. You've seen the Jackie Robinson one right here above my shoulder. You see the Willie Mays one
Art
right
of
here.
Baseball.
Say
That's Art of Baseball.
Art of Baseball?
Yeah.
What's the tag on Instagram so we can just make sure?
I'll double check because it's Art of Baseball.
Okay.
Art of Baseball TR.
Okay, Art of Baseball TR. If you're interested, some of you old heads might want to have one of your favorite players up, Mickey Mantle, whoever it might be. So
he loves Mickey. So yeah, Art of Baseball TR. So good stuff here. What else we got?
Your dad. I want to ask you a question about your pops being with Pete Rose. I watched a special the other day. Pete Rose to this day denies that he did anything wrong. We all know what he did, and we all know that he should still be in the Hall of Fame if you're going to let steroid users in. So I was going to ask you to ask your pops, this would be a funny story to have him on for an interview. Has your dad ever questioned or wondered about man, Pete, was there anything your dad ever thought God, Pete, I wish you really wouldn't have done that, or man, no. Pete, if you would have done this, you would have avoided a lot. I wonder what your dad's relationship with
but
it
was. I think that was always. I think more so when we started playing minor league ball. I remember reading the MLB, ILB rules. It was no gambling. It was a very big part of it. But I think obviously that was after Pete. He's never really touched on that I can remember. But
looking back on it now, I wonder what your pops feels like. Man, I played with the greatest hitter of his era, the most hits of all time, and I wonder what his first comment would be. Or
he talks about him in his book, The Road to the Record. He talks about my dad coming up and kind of being in that time frame. But I don't know.
As a friend or a mentor, or what?
As a player, that he's this rookie Tom Runnels is coming up, or mentions him a couple times, but it's my dad never really said anything as far as that was, he shouldn't have done it, or I don't condone it.
Yeah. That's just what I wanted to
but
hear.
But I think a lot of people dude, he betted on some ponies, he betted on baseball. He didn't bet that his team would lose. He never threw any games. He bet that his team would win. That's the thing, he bet that they would win.
Yeah,
that's the weird thing.
It's interesting to me,
and that's, but you can't. it's gambling. But
yeah, the NBA had the referees fixing the game for 20 years.
Aren't there a convicted murderers in the Hall of Fame, or there was something? I'm pretty sure
convicted murders now in the MLB.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and the guy has 5 DUIs and he's still pitching. So
I don't. Yeah, it was pretty amazing that time. It was very. '85. I was 7. It was hard for me to understand. The only thing I remember in that time was the player of the game. I went into the locker. The player of the game got like a new TV.
Really?
That's all I remember.
The Miller Lite player of the game.
Yeah, they got
Runnels.
I was like, they got a free TV. What? Like,
Cincinnati
damn.
Reds. Tom Runnels.
Let's get some TVs.
Miller Lite player of the game.
But I remember they'd get watches and they get TVs. It's amazing that level.
Did your dad get like lots of checks? I hear like in the big leagues, these guys would show up and they're just be like, oh, there's 3 or 4 checks. One's, for my card deal. The other one's for what glove I wear. Like, it just random checks show up.
More so now, but I remember.
Just random
I
money.
remember my dad went and played in Venezuela, in Caracas, Venezuela. He played for the Caracas Leones, and he was the starting shortstop over Omar Vizquel.
What?
Yeah.
Your dad got called into the Leones?
Oh yeah, he started over Omar Vizquel. Do you want to know the catch?
Hit us.
Omar was 17. Hey! Omar was only like 17 or 18.
He was a child.
My dad was like 28. But I just remember that time. So we went down there. It was amazing. But I remember like there was military with guns. People, there was people, military on the dugout. Crazy stuff. And then when my dad came home from that time in South America, he had $1,000 bills. That's when they still made $1,000 bills. He had like 10 of them.
Whoa, $1,000 bills?
$1,000 bill, yeah.
I've never even seen or heard of such a thing.
I think
Isn't that $1 million bill? Like the one that was printed?
Maybe, but
it's like a spoofy
there was
thing.
$1,000 bills at one point. I think he came up with like 7 or something. I was like, what?
Yeah, they probably look like millions.
They look like millions. I was like, what? It was like $7. He was like, I had to play the whole season.
Oh, dads are legendary, dude. Dads are legendary.
But that was pretty awesome. I mean, my dad's had a pretty amazing career and been a part of baseball for such a long time. He's well known, and he still does stuff with like a local high school team, and
cool.
He can't get away from it. Obviously,
yeah.
He's still doing arts and crafts, cutting up baseballs.
Married to the game.
Married to the game.
All right, so to finish up this show, we want to just put our predictions out there for the playoffs. We have one other thing we're going to get to that's just kind of a fun thing for you guys to enjoy.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and say, I'm just going to say White Sox. I'm going to stick by them in the American League.
Okay.
Not saying that
Playoffs
they're the best team.
like World Series or?
Yeah, because I'm not saying they're the best team right now, but if for some reason they get to the last games of the year, you're going to be like, wow, White Sox. So I'm going with them. I'm going to stick by the Dodgers because if I don't, I'm going to get in trouble at home. But I do want to shout out Evan and Jake McGee on the Giants. You guys have had great seasons and awesome careers. It's been fun to watch you guys blossom into the players that you are. So, yeah.
I'm going to go Twins and Marlins.
Wow, Twins and
They're
Marlins.
going to make a comeback. It's going to happen.
They're only down by 50 games combined, but we have 22 games left.
No,
all of them are worth 2, so we could get close.
Look, I want it to be. I think I said Boston early.
You
right?
did, and I still
like
stick by that. Yeah.
I'm gonna go Boston, LA. I want it to be the big market teams. Ooh. I like Boston. I like the history. I'm in LA.
That would be a rematch. Didn't they just play in the World Series and they beat us in 2017? Didn't they beat us? Yeah. See, so that would be a rematch, dude. That'd be a.
Was it 17 or 18?
It was along those lines.
Or 19.
19 would have. 17 was the Astros.
19 was the Nationals,
and then 18 would have been Red Sox.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Boston, LA. That's my prediction. Let's go LA. Get it together.
You're down by 2 games. Don't panic. You're ahead in the wild card. No need to stress. Just play your day. Every day is the same.
Stop blaming the managers.
Just win today. Just win today.
I
Dodgers.
just remember that.
Rays.
Managers. My dad was I think TR is the topic for this evening, but I remember he got just blasted. But they'd win. The player did well.
Do you want to
lose? Manager did.
It's all the manager.
It's always a manager. You got. Sorry.
Best managers I ever had would say, hey guys, you know what? You guys can lose the games. That's fine. They all go on my record. But at the end of the day, you guys just remember, play more for the name on the front of your jersey to get the name on your back recognized. But at the end of the day, the wins and losses go on the manager's record.
Yes,
so
seriously.
It's kind of a funny ordeal. TJ, why don't you let them know about our little giveaway we have?
All right, the giveaway is pretty simple. Excuses None is a big part of our podcast, and we're going to do a simple giveaway today.
I love the sleeve on this one.
Yeah, so this is a Dodgers kind of play. You've seen this before. And we're just going to go say, go follow Excuses None on Instagram. DM me your favorite Dodgers player of all time. I know that there's one that can stick out in everyone's mind, but give me your own personal take. I'm going to do a random just pick from all the people that submit their DM to me, or the excuses none.
It's a hard one for me. I really like Justin Turner, but I also kind of like.
But all time, all time
Dodger,
all time. Yeah, and we can even go over that the next time we talk.
We should, yeah. And I think that'd be.
But there's a Dodger that I think that should stick out in everyone's heart.
Jackie Robinson.
Yep. Yeah, well, I mean, even if you're not a Dodger, if you're a Dodger hater, there's a special place in your heart for Jackie.
Yeah, Jackie. Hey, Jackie crossed all barriers, so hats off, man. We love you for that, buddy. We want to thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll be back with another episode here soon. If you guys would like, leave some comments, subscribe, say some things, DM, suggest, share, like, whatever you want on this episode. We appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll be seeing you guys here real soon again, all right?
Oh, did I tell you about the mystery box thing?
Oh, please, enlighten me.
Okay, I want to apologize to the winner of the mystery box from one of our last episodes. A good friend of ours, Baseball Central's friend, won the mystery box, and I just thought it'd be cool to throw a bunch of fun stuff in there. I was just so excited. I'm like, I'm gonna put this and this and this, and I have just fun, all this stuff. And I decided, like a smart person, to put in hot sauce, a bottle of hot sauce. And
what kind was it?
It was like a mule kicker or something.
Oh,
it was hot.
Fire,
it was nice, but it didn't travel well. So I want to apologize. So sorry about that.
We didn't send you like cut up body parts.
I'm an idiot. No, I should have bubble wrapped it, but that's my bad. But anyways, won't happen again. I learned my lesson. So there's no hot sauce going with this giveaway. But we love you guys.
Thanks for tuning in, guys.
We'll see you soon.
Later.
Peace.